Evening, gang. Here we are. Second week in November already. I'll tell you what, and it's, what is it? Wednesday the 9th of... just a minute, let me turn something down. It's a bit loud, that. Wednesday the 9th of November 2022. Welcome along to this evening's chat show. It seems like about 10 years since we last spoke, doesn't it? I've been so busy. So busy. I've been away twice. And then last week on this day... I'd already got back, but very tired after a bit of a journey. So that's where I've been. Where have you been? Sitting there, not doing anything? No, you found something else to do, didn't you? You always do. You find something else to do and that's it. Eh? And how about the weather? So this morning, after I finished my little radio show, up I went to the village gym. I did a gym swim today. Now, here's the weird thing about it, right? On 3 days a week, I do gym. Now, when I say I do gym, don't think I'm lifting great big heavy weights and I'm in there for 3 hours. Yeah, don't. It's very, very light. Very, very light. I have increased the weight on one machine only in the last 4 weeks. But that's fine. It's quite nice as a bit of a social aspect to it in there as well. Everyone talks to each other, old or young, except the alpha males. Yeah, and there's not to be. I'm so pleased that there's not many of them in there. I mean, do us a fact. That's all gone. You know, that's from the 1970s. We don't do any of that in there. So what I do is very light in there. And if it's a gym swim, I do about an hour in there. And here's what I do, right? So first of all, after walking up there at a reasonable speed, about 20-25 minutes to walk there, right? I then go on the walking machine and I've built up from 5 minutes to 15 minutes on there. There might be one or two of you do gym, so I'll explain the technicality bits as well. So I go on this walking machine and soon I'll be up to, it takes us a couple of minutes, I get up to 6 miles an hour. And the incline is 5. And I do that for about 15 minutes. Okay? It tells you your heart rate. My heart rate goes up to about 115 for a while and then starts coming back down again to about 110, something like that. And it kind of sits there all the time that I'm doing that walking. By the time I get off that, I'm quite hot. And then I go usually on this leg machine, one that you do that. And then another leg machine, which kind of goes that downwards. Then I go on this thing that you lift that up, right? 5 kilos. 5 kilos on that, I can just about manage. And on the third lot, you do 3 of these things. Well, you do 15 and you do that 3 times, right? And on the third one, and it's really hurting. And then I do this pull down thing like that, right? Then I do this thing with my legs and I push this big thing up and down. And I've that's the one I've upgraded now to 20 kilos on each side. I started off at 5, then I got to 10. Now I'm on 20, and I am struggling at 20. Okay, again on that third set of things that you do. Okay, one of my legs is shaking a bit. Now there's a lad. He's only about 25. I'm sure I've told you about him. He manages, so I told you I've got 20 on this side like that, right? He manages 120 on each side. I manage 20 on each side. There's these like big metal things. I manage 20 on each side, 120 each side. And this morning, I joke about it with him a few weeks ago. I first spotted him doing this. And I said to someone, I said, how many is he lifting on there? And he could hear it. And he had to stop. He was laughing so much. Anyway, so this morning I saw him while I was on that machine, right, doing that one. And at the corner of my eye, I could see him on this machine and he'd loaded it up. And he was really struggling this morning. So I don't know if he was tired or not. I was actually quite pleased he was struggling. It's not just me then, you know. Oh dear. And then so I've finished doing this one and then I go over to that one with the leg, but and he just got off it and he was removing these weights. He said, "Oh mate, how are you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right." He said, "What do you want? One on there?" I said, "Yes, please." So he put another one on my side and I put one on my side. And he's chatting to us. And I was saying to him, years ago, you know, when I was sort of his age, young people didn't do that sort of thing. We never went down the gym. It just didn't really happen. What you get in there is a load of those arsehole alpha males, you know, and like walking around like they bloody own the place. And it's not like that in there at all now. It's a very mixed crowd in there. There's young people, there's old people, and it's a great mix of people in there really. And he's chatting away, and I said that's a good thing. He said, well, it is, but the reason that a lot of people go down there, boys really, is because of what they see on the internet and on the telly. I said, would Love Island be an influence? He said, well, yes. You know, it started with girls, I think, this business with how you look and all that business. It started with it probably started with the gay boys. They're very particular at how they look. Not me. It's never really bothered me. But a lot of the gay boys, they're in the mirror, plucking eyelashes and all this business, right? And the girls as well are very similar. And it's the straight boys now. It's the straight boys. And the good side of it is that they try and get fit by doing all these things. The bad side of it is that they see these people on the telly and that's who they want to be. And if they don't get to that stage, they get very depressed. And they don't need to be depressed, really. You know, not everyone, I don't believe everyone can get a six-pack. I've certainly never had one. You know, and as you get older, if you've never had one, impossible, mate. Unless I have one of those plastic insertions put in me. You know. And that's the bad side of it. They compare themselves to what they see on the television, on certain television programmes, like beautiful body programmes. I think Love Island and Ibiza Uncovered and things like that, you know, and Appa Weekender or whatever it's called. Those sort of things. That's how they think they should look, and not everyone looks the same. It would be boring if everyone looked the same, wouldn't it? Unless, of course, everyone looked like Justin Bieber, and that's quite acceptable, really, isn't it? I was having this little chat with him, and that's how he is. Turns out he's a PT instructor, but he does his on the internet. And people call him, you know, like you have a doctor's face-to-face on the like mobile phone now. Some of them do video conferencing and all that business, and you talk to a doctor like that. That's what he does, but with personal training, which is I found very interesting. Anyway, so from that I then go to this other machine which I don't really like, and it's like this little thing, and you pull it right down like that. And you push it up, you pull it down and push it up, and that's like a rope. And then similar from the bottom, you pull this other thing up and down, other thing up. I've been doing it wrong. One of the instructors, ever so nice he is, his name's Jordan. He's got a little girl, she's just turned 6 years old. I said to him, what did you get for her birthday? He said, oh, she got sport rotten. Of course she did. There's something between like the father and the daughter thing going on, isn't there? Always. Like mums and sons, really. Fathers and daughters, that sort of thing going on there. And he said he's sport rotten. And he came over on Monday. I was in there on Monday. And he said, oh, you're only doing half a rep? I was doing it like this. And you have to go right the way down to the other. I don't know, dear. I mean, I just do my thing. And then I come out of there and I change into my swimming stuff and then I go swimming. So 3 times a week I do gym swim. And then the other 3 times a week I do swim, right? And the weird thing is, wouldn't you think it would be easier to just do the swim? You'd find the swim easier if you went up there and just did the swim, right? That would kind of work, wouldn't it? You know, it'd be easier. No. The odd thing is, it's easier to swim after you've been lifting all those little bits and pieces and doing stuff like that. You know, I'm never going to be 120 kilos on either side. I might build up a little bit more, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. But judging from the look on his face when he was trying to lift these things, my knees feel like they're going to snap sometimes on that. So there we are. And I came out of there this morning and I felt really good. Isn't it the weird thing? I felt really good after I'd finished doing all that. And I was outside in a bleeding t-shirt. Didn't feel cold at all. There was a little bit of a breeze, but even the breeze is not particularly cold at the moment. And I walked all the way home in a T-shirt, and I just had my jumper draped over my neck, so there was no more room in the bag. Came back here and I did a pasta thing, quite a lot of chilli and garlic in it. I bet my breath really stinks at the moment, because you can't smell it yourself, can you? Eh? You can't smell chilli on your own breath. I bet it really stinks at the moment. Is it coming through my new microphone? Eh? Come back here and that was my day today. And it's not the only time I thought, well, this is weird weather, because as you know, I've just been in Scotland. I hope you managed to see a couple of the little videos we did up there. It was wonderful to see my niece and the 3 children. There's Emily, there's in order, there's George, Emily and James, and we had the most wonderful time up there, including George having a bout of stomach sickness, strangely enough, on the very first day that Uncle Chris visits, and I had to go up to the school and collect him, and once we got round the corner, he miraculously recovered. I was able to take him to the hotel for a slap-up meal, and then down to the sort of where all the little boats are. Would you call it a harbour or something like that? Down to the harbour maybe, and an ice cream. Then we walked home, back via the school, and then my niece took us out, and we went back down there, and he had another ice cream and made me promise not to tell his mum, my niece. And I had a wonderful time there. Such a quick journey, really, when you think about it. Because Inverness, most people think of Scotland, Scotland, England. Most people think of Scotland. So if I'm, let's have a look. If I'm kind of there, right, they think you're going to Scotland. All right, you're going there. But I wasn't. I was going here. Car journey. 12 to 14 hours, I would imagine. Plane, door to door, right? So from the door of this house to my little hotel, which was a beautiful little hotel. It's not posh in any way, shape or form, but warm. It felt warm and homely in that tiny little room that I was in. Door to door, about 5.5 hours. Amazing, really. Left here, 10:30, probably left here half an hour earlier than I needed to. Dropped off at the airport. Fortunately, no idiots climbing bleeding gantries over the motorway, stopping everyone else from moving along. There was none of that business going on, fortunately. My mate dropped me off at the airport, hang around the airport about an hour and a half, something like that, on the plane, and you're only on this plane for an hour. That's it. I didn't upgrade to the business class, which I normally do, not for an hour's journey. It would have cost me an extra £89 each way to go business or club class, whatever you want to call it. And for that, you get to use the lounge, the specific lounge, and you'd get a cooked breakfast on the plane if you want that. And you get on and off the plane first. But for the sake of an hour's flight, I thought that's just not even worth it, especially when I only paid £40 each way. British Airways, the first time was about 40 minutes late going there. Coming home, it was bang on time. The only thing it was a 7 a.m. flight from Inverness. And my niece's husband, God bless his soul, he picked me up from the hotel at 4:30 in the morning. And he was bang on time. You see, he's armed forces. My niece's husband is armed forces, so he's the same as me with timing. Yeah, I've said to you before. Yeah, if I go somewhere, I'm there an hour before I need to get there. He's all bang on time. Yeah, and he's there. 4:30 comes. There he is. He arrives and takes me to the airport very kindly. Which is earlier than he does get up, although he does get up very early anyway. He gets up about 5 in the morning and takes the dog. He's got the most beautiful German Shepherd called Nigel. Such a lovely dog. And they're very close. Very, very close. The dog has got to know me now and isn't bothered by me at all. And he takes it out at 5 o'clock every morning along the beach. Nice, isn't it? And the rest of the time there, we had a lovely time. I visited a church in Elgin on Sunday. A bit of an odd priest, really. He was a bit, I don't know, there was something about him that was a bit odd, really. And that was nice. Went shopping a couple of times with my niece. We had a couple of meals in a particular restaurant on the seafront at Lossiemouth. which was really nice. They do the best halloumi burger I have ever had, because you get 2 bits and they seem to be cooked differently. One's like deep fried and the other one is cooked some other method, and they're stacked on top of each other, and a load of chips. And of course, we have to have the baked beans as well. Yes, thank you very much. And most days I went to the school to meet them with my niece. See, I picked them up from school and all that. Yeah, it was lovely up in Scotland. And of course, before that, we had the trip to Paris. Again, a very easy trip. Once again, you may have seen the videos that I posted up there. And the trip to Paris, I mean, unfortunately, to get... What I had to do was stay in London the day before the train was due, so that I'm in place, because the train goes at 9:30 in the morning. You don't want to be travelling from here to there at that time. So usually my mate would take us there. He's not been very well recently, so he could do it. Next one, well, we'll do it by train. Nope, can't do it by train. Train's on strike on that Saturday. So I had to do it by bus, and it took me 7.5 hours to get from here to Hampstead. A journey that would take about an hour and a half in the car if you've got traffic. 7.5 hours. Walk to there, bus to there, bus to there, bus to Heathrow Airport to London. Caught in traffic on the M4. Of course, because there were no trains and everyone was driving into London. So that was a bit of a bind. And I got to the hotel at about 7:30 at night. That was the Premier Inn. We would normally stay at the King's Cross Hotel, Premier Inn, but they wanted like £300 per room for one night. 600 quid to stay for one night. Up at the Premier Inn, I think it was 150. So it was still £300 for 2 rooms for one night. But there you go. That's just how it is. We got a breakfast in the morning, which was the breakfast. About 4 out of 10, I think, for that. It wasn't particularly nice, one of those things. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. The lovely time in Paris. Of course, you get on this train, right? You get on this train at St Pancras, isn't it? On the Eurostar. You go through like security, similar to an airport, but faster and friendlier. I have to say, the people at Eurostar on the security were extremely friendly. They'd have a little laugh with you, as long as you don't be stupid. Never ever go into an airport and when they say, is there anything in the back? Yeah, I've got a couple of bombs in there. They're not amused. They're not amused. Don't ever think you're being funny doing that. No, you're a complete and utter idiot doing something like that. Right? So you come through there and you get on this train, and 2 hours later you're walking out at Disney. The only problem, and we had a lovely time at Disney, the only thing was we had the shuttle bus because we weren't actually staying in the Disney resort. So we were going on and off this shuttle bus, and that was a bloody nightmare, really, because they just don't seem to have enough of them. And they were packed, some of these shuttle buses. Absolute nightmare. In particular, we managed to get on it all the time, except on this particular night that we stayed for the fireworks, right? And that was an experience, right? It was so packed in the Disney. And of course, the little girl, suddenly she wants to go and have a wee. And we had to push ourselves through this. And when I say push ourselves, that was the only way to do it. You couldn't get through. And this bleeding, people were moaning, oh, why have you got to go that? Well, because the little girl's got to go toilet. And this bitch had a word with my niece. Oh, don't worry about that. My niece gave it back to her, all right, as we're trying to get through. All we wanted to do was go to the toilet. Of course, once we'd gone to the toilet, because the fireworks hadn't started, there's no way we could get back there again, but it's just how it is. We watched the fireworks. I think we went to Five Guys then for a meal. Then when we came out of there to get the shuttle bus home, my God, there was 3 or 4 amounts of people waiting for this bus. Really. Terrible. So they haven't got a clue what they're doing there. Anyway, so that's where I've been. And as I say, last Wednesday I'd come back from Scotland early in the morning, but I was too tired to do a show. So there we are. All right, let's say hello to some of you today. I did hope to have a little chat thing up here, but that doesn't appear to be working for some strange reason. Let me just stop a couple of things and see if that works. I don't know. Do that. Is that going to work? Give me a second, my darlings. All right. There we are. Good evening to Derek John. Evening to Derek. Welcome along to the show, Derek, over there on Facebook. Anyone on Facebook Live? I'm not sure that this little message thing is working from Facebook Live for us. So someone sent us a message on Facebook Live. Oh, yes, it is. There it is. That's working now. Hello to Adrian Richardson. Good evening to Adrian. Dino Klein in the house. Evening to you, sir. A very good evening too on the text message system. Hello to Gary Ross. Evening, Gary. Over there in Northern Ireland. Evening to you, Gary. Paul in Ashford's there. Evening, Paul. He's in England's Garden. The garden is Kent in Ashford. Good evening, Paul. Are you near these idiots climbing up and down the gantries? Bloody idiots. My personal opinion about these people that are going up climbing the gantries on the M25. Leave them there. Leave them there. That's what they did in Germany in the VW factory. They got into this VW factory, glued themselves to the wall. And when it was time to go home, the people turned the lights out. Oh, aren't you going to leave us a bowl or anything to eat or anything to defecate in? That's what they said. No. And they just left them there. I don't know what the end of the story was there. Leave them. They want to clatter them up the gantries. Bloody well leave them there. They'll either come down or fall down. You know, and if you fall down onto the road, that ain't my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault you've fallen into the road. And if you're not dead as you get down onto the road, well, probably a juggernaut. And it won't be his fault either. That's what I think about that. If you want to go climbing up gantries above the M25 or anywhere else in the country, fine. You go ahead and do that, and we'll just leave you there. Come down when you're finished, all right, my darlings? Did you see that girl? She did a TikTok yesterday. I don't want to be up here. I'm doing it for the world. Oh, please do us a favour, love. Stopping people going about their business. It's disgusting. No decorum, dear. No decorum. Hello to the lovely Shania Steele. Good evening, Shania. I have organ news, Shania. I've got organ news today, my darling. And that is I've started going back to Roehampton. So at Bracknell Church, where I play, I'm now down to one every 3 weeks. Because the lovely lady who plays the guitar there, she was only doing one a month. And she wanted to do a bit more. She said, do you mind if we all go one every 3 weeks? I said, yeah, that's fine. So I redone, well, I hadn't done that new rota yet. So I've done the rota, and that's now one every 3 weeks. So on, off, off, on, off, off, on, off, off. Unless, of course, someone's on a holiday or something like that. And actually, John, who's the other organist, he's like a professional musician. He reads music and all that. He composes and all that business. Not like me. You know, I just have a go. I listen and I have a go, right? He's professional at all the music and all that. And I got a phone. It should have been me this Sunday for Remembrance Sunday. And I got a phone call from John on Sunday night, I think it was. And he said, oh, hello, Chris, how are you? He says, oh, do you mind if would it be possible that I could do the Remembrance Sunday this week? I quite like doing that, and I do it every year. I said, yeah, that's fine, John, no problem at all. I'll swap myself over with you. And I got my calendar out, so I swapped it over. So John is this Sunday, and it's me the Sunday after. But it's me the Sunday after that anyway. So that's fine. You know, I'll do 2 in a row. Sometimes he does 2 in a row if I'm doing something, usually a caravan visit or something like that. But, of course, it was supposed to be my caravan week. So the only thing I can do is either not go, or I might go either after. You see, I don't really want to be travelling on a Sunday afternoon around the M25. Do you know what I mean? Bleeding nightmare. So what I might do is I'll do the Sunday Mass on the 20th. Then I'll come back here. I might do a gym swim, actually, on that Sunday. Then I'll have lunch, go to bed, get up about 6 or 7 o'clock, and then go up there. And then I'd be up there. If I left, I'd be up there by about 10:30. And then I could have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and come back Thursday, instead of doing Monday, Tuesday, come back Wednesday. See what I mean? So I might well do that. And then I'm back on again the Sunday after. But on the other weeks, because what happened this week, Shania? Are you still with me, darling? Sorry, Shania. What happened this week? I got a phone call last week from my friend. She used to be parish secretary at St. Joseph's in Roehampton. And one of the nuns from the convent up there said they were having problem with their organ in the convent. Did she know anyone that can do anything with it? So she's rung up me, and I said, well, I'm not a technician of any way, shape or form, but I do have common sense, and sometimes, a lot of the time, you can fix stuff through common sense, which a hell of a lot of people don't seem to have anymore in this world, as you well know. So I said I'd go up there. So I thought, well, I'll double that up with a trip to the church, my old church. So I left here at 9:30, intended to get there at 10:30. As luck would have it, there's some bleeding roadworks on the A3, right? And I didn't get there till about 8 minutes to 11. So I walked in my old church, and there's altar server Andrew, who's the same age as me. He's never stopped doing it, Shania. Since he was like an 8-year-old boy, he's never stopped doing the organ. He's the one who's had the double lung and heart, the lung and heart transplant. He's the longest surviving heart-lung transplant person in the UK. And he has to have all these drugs and all that to keep him alive and what have you. Well, he's still going. And he goes to church every week. Don't know if there's anything in that. I'm sure you think there is, shall I? So I said hello. I said, and I looked over. There's no one on the organ. And there's one person sitting in front of the organ. I said, is there any? He said, well, we haven't got anyone anymore. I said, well, what happens to that? Didn't you have a boy who was learning? Yeah, but that kind of fizzled out. So we just have singers. I said, all right, shall I pull up a couple of hymns and I'll go and do it? And funnily enough, I did have a bit of paper with me, with some hymns on it, just in case I was required, and that paid off. So I went over and switched on, and then Michael came in. He kind of comes every couple of weeks, I think, and he kind of leads the singing, but he doesn't come every week. So he was there. I said, hello. I said, all right. I said, I didn't know you were coming. I put some hymns up. Are those ones all right? So we had a quick look. He said, yeah. He said, that's basically what I would have chosen, because we have this thing. You may know it, should I? You get that liturgy thing, and it suggests hymns and readings to do on a particular day. So I look at that before I do that now. My friend Sheila, she's in the choir at Bracknell, St. Joseph's. She gave me the link to this thing. So that's where I get all the hymns from. And so that was fine. That was fine, really. It's a much louder organ than the one at Bracknell. Well, I say it's louder. The trouble with the one at Bracknell is that where I sit and the choir is, we are miles away from the speakers. So in the church, it's very loud. But where we are, I can barely hear myself playing. And I mean that. There, it's much louder where I'm sitting, and I can hear everything. Oh, it was lovely, really. And then from there, I went up to the nuns' convent, and there's only 7 of them left now, and they're all retired. I remember being up there in my 20s. I played their instrument up there a couple of times, and it was full up with nuns. Now there's 7 left. It's sad, really, as time is going on, people aren't coming in to do this sort of thing. But there you go, one of those things. And it wasn't the organ that I played, it's in the corner, unplugged. It's this other one. Anyway, she said it's making a funny noise, so I turned it on, and immediately I thought that sounds like a dirty fan. Immediately. Anyway, I took the back off. There's no fan to be seen. I was very surprised to find it's full of valves. Valves! It's that old. It's a Hammond full of valves. And there, immediately I discovered there is a motor turning. And this spindle goes into this big metal thing, which is full of electronics. Little, I don't know, resistors and things on this long metal thing there. Actually, I did have a photo. I could show you it. Do you want to see it? I did. Have I got this photo up? I think you're just about to see it off here. Yep, I think you will. Okay, so can you see that? Yes, you can. Right, so that there, see that there is the motor. If you follow that, behind there is a spindle, yeah? And goes into here. Now, I don't know what that's doing in there, but nevertheless, it's all turning round and the noise is coming from there. It's there somewhere. I found 2 little funnel things here and instructions on where to oil it, and that's all I did. It made no difference at all. But since coming there, I've discovered, and you can't see it on this picture, the motor, which is here, that motor there. Above that are 2 little white caps, because I found a YouTube video. There's 2 little white caps on there, and what you do is flip those open and you put a bit of oil in there. So I'm going back again this Sunday. I'll play the organ again as well this Sunday for them, as I haven't got anyone, and I'll go up there afterwards and put a bit of oil in there and see if that works. Sister Eileen, oh, she's ever such a nice, dear old nun. She says, well, next time you come up, let us know before you do, and you can have some dinner with us. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice? So that's my organ news at the moment. Shania says, I'm a church hopper. Well, you could say that, because the other week, Shania, because I haven't done a show for 3 weeks, remember, I got an email from Canon Simon at Wokingham. They're having problems with their live streaming equipment. And did I know anything? I said, well, I'm happy to come down and have a look, Father. Right, so the 11 o'clock mass I went down there for, and I went into the sacristy. All right, Father. Oh, thanks ever so much for coming, Chris. It's over here. And he took me to a little black box. Oh, I said, I was expecting to kind of see a laptop or a computer here. He said, oh no, it's just this box. And when we press this button here, it's supposed to take us live onto Facebook, and a little light comes on. Except, first of all, it starts flashing and then it goes solid and it means you're on. Except it just gets stuck on flashing all the time. He said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I wouldn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue, I'm afraid. I'd never seen such a thing. There's no computer. No computer. You just click this thing and it connects to the router and the high-quality camera that they've got in church. But he still hasn't got it going, so what I might do is get him to send me an email and take a picture of the device and what it's called and look it up and see if I can help him like that. You know, very, very complicated, dear, very complicated. A church hopper. I like that, Shania. So that's what I've been doing. All right. Hello to... where's Maureen? Hello to Maureen. Good evening to Maureen. Hello, Maureen. You right, darling? She's still making me beautiful sandwiches on a Friday at Central Station, aren't you, my love? Thank you, Maureen. Good evening to you. Hello to Diane Jebb. Evening, Diane. Hello to Greg. Good evening to Greg, who says it's all working out is good for mental health. Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah, because on the first day I went in there, I thought, no, this ain't for me. And it was my mate, who hasn't now been for 4 weeks. It was my mate that said to please do me a favour, give it 4 weeks. And if after that you don't want to do it, fine. But within a week or two, I thought, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. Remember, I keep telling you this. It is very light exercise I'm doing. I'm not lifting 50 kilos. I think my legs, one machine is on, I think the leg machine is on 15 or 20. The pull down one is on 25, I think now. That's gone up. This one's on 5. It's amazing how hard that is to do that one. You'd think that one would be easy. That's on 5. And I do 3 lots of 15 on each one, Greg. Greg says working out is good for mental health. I've been running and weightlifting for years. Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about then, Greg. I mean, how sad is that, Greg? 5 kilos. The leg thing, I think, is 15 to 20. One of them's 15, one of them's 20. Okay? That thing starts off at 20, and I usually do the last one at 25. The leg press thing is 20 each side, so that's 40, isn't it? That pull down with a rope thing, I think, is 12 and a half, and pulling up with a rope thing is 12 and a half. There's another machine, isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and the walking thing, like I said, I'm on an incline of about 5 and 6 miles an hour for 15 minutes. So that's all my stuff. Is that okay, Greg? Is that all right for a start? Evening to Vera from Vera's Choice in the Morning. Evening, Vera. Paul and Ashford, what's he sent me here? Let's have a little look here. Oh, he sent me something about the... Oh, yeah, it's the Just Stop Oil leader has been remanded in custody over the M25 chaos. Well, he'd be, but they don't care. They're not bothered. These people are not bothered whether they're in prison or not. Are they? Does that mean he's in prison, in custody, or is that like a police cell or something like that? I wouldn't know. I've never been in either. I've no intention of going in either. The suspected leader of Just Stop Oil has been remanded in custody, accused of plotting to cause chaos at the M25. Well, he succeeded. He succeeded. When you see these idiots on news programmes and all that, they just don't get it, do they, really? Or is it us that doesn't get it? Trying to remain in the middle here a little bit. Is it us that doesn't get it? But you see, yes, we all agree that we've got to come off all these fossil fuels. I think most people agree with that. And we're trying. Climbing up a gantry and stopping everything moving doesn't help. In fact, it puts people against you. You know, I'd love to see them, every single one of these, dragged off there, or wait till they fall down. You know, I don't want my taxes spent on providing more police officers or whoever it is who has to go up and get them. I don't want my money. Leave them up there. Leave them up there. When they want to come down, arrest a lot of them and shove them in prison. Thank you very much. That's what we do. This bloke is 56. He should know more better at his age, shouldn't he? Roger Hallam, 56, was arrested along with 7 others as part of a major police operation cracking down on those allegedly planning demonstrations on the M25. And a lorry crashed and a police officer was injured. You know. Police officer injured because of these idiots. And God knows I've got enough to deal with, rather than climbing up and... do they actually climb up and drag them off? How does that work? Or do they just have to coax? Oh, please come down, please come... Leave them up there! When they fall off, they fall off. 10 people climbed up gantries above the motorway, despite arrests today. On Monday and Tuesday, they're still doing it. So, Hallam and Church of England vicar... The Reverend Tim Hughes appeared in court yesterday. He's a Church of England vicar. Don't get that with priests, do you, Shania? Don't get any of that with Catholic priests, darling. Oh, dear me. It's dreadful. Thank you, Paul, in Ashford there. We done all our messages there? Just a second, my darling. Oh, we are. What's that one there? Is that another one there? I'm trying to keep up with the messages here. There we go. That's better. I've got them now. Hello to Pandora, who is Adrian Richardson's cat. Hello, Pandora. What a lovely name for a cat. Pandora. Do you get those Pandora charms? A lot of people collect those. Now, who is it? I saw someone who collected those the other day. Pandora charms. Must be an expensive thing to do, mustn't it? There we are. Hello to... Aruj and Dale. Who's Aruj? Is that your other half? Have you got a new half? New other half, Derek? Aruj, is it? I hope I've said that all right. A-R-O-O-J. Aruj, I think. Aruj and Dale in the house today. Hello to you. Have you still got that curtain with a hole in it, Dale? Hope you're well there. Hello to Sean Crabtree. Oh, you're with it. You're following me at the moment, aren't you, Sean? Hello to you. Evening, Chris. Halfway through watching the new series of The Crown. Haven't seen that yet. My mate says he's not going to watch it. He refuses to watch it. Remember, if you watch The Crown, it's not all true. They make bits up. It's a TV series. I think it's wrong that you can do something like that. Either make it a documentary or make it as a story, but don't base it on the lives of someone else. I think that's very unfair, doing it like that. But it's all about selling. Are many people watching it, I wonder? Sean Michael Crabtree is. I hope you're enjoying that, darling. All right to you. Hello to Adrian's on 40 kilograms on the legs. Well done, Adrian. Blimey. Well done, mate. I love it. There's a real camaraderie, what's you call it? When everyone's together just doing this stuff at their own level and no one's in there taking the piss out of anyone else. You know. It's wonderful. Old, young, all talking together. It's fantastic in there, I tell you. Sean quite rightly says, all these people holding up the cars, that's making even more pollution. You're absolutely right. And hello to Mandy Waits joining us there. Lovely, lovely Mandy. Missing you, darling. All right, love. There's no South London karaoke's for me. I only do North London. I'm afraid Mandy used to come along to the karaoke at the Golden Lion in Sydenham. Some time ago there. Greg says, doesn't matter about the weight you're lifting, it's keeping the motivation going to go. Good on you. Yeah, and I look forward to it. I want to do 3 a week in there. I do 6 swims and 3 gyms, because you're not supposed to do the gym thing every day, are you? So thank you very much there. Let's just pop into the YouTube chat there. Hello to George Bond. Lee Westcombe. Evening to you. Evening, Lee. We said hello to Gary and Jason there. DJ George Bond. I'm in the dance group called Born to Perform. All right. What's that then? Is there YouTube videos of that? Are you in a dance group? What is it, like ballet or something like that? Do you have to go on your little tippy toes and do like pirouettes and things like that? I don't think I'd be able to do that, George. I'm too fat. Too fat to do that. How ballet people, they're all slim, aren't they? I think ballet is a fattest thing and they shouldn't be allowed. There must be a little left-wing group somewhere that can start off. One of you lot can start it up, I'm sure. You know, a little left-wing group headed by the lovely Diane Abbott, you know, to stop ballet people only employing skinny people. It's wrong. It's wrong if you ask me. We need to get some fatties all together to get on to these ballet people because it's wrong. We need fat ballet dancers. I'd like to volunteer for that. Thank you very much. We don't have any of that on Little Britain, would we? Do you remember that Little Britain when she ran that fat club? When she awful. Of course, a lot of people don't see the fun in that, right? The joke is not on the large people. The joke is on the awful woman who's running it. Isn't it? But you know how they are, these lefties? Oh, they're taking the mick out of fat people. No, they're not. They're taking the mick out of her. Idiots. Oh, we don't understand. No, that's because you're thick. You have no sense of humour. Go away. If you don't, you're on the wrong channel. That's it. Hello to Mandy Davenport, who's still in charge. A lot of people think that. Don't step out of line, because Mandy's waiting for you, my darlings. Still in charge of pain and suffering on this travel is Mandy Davenport. Thank you very much. Hello to MP Dodsworth. Who else have we got here? Excuse me. Jason Hughes goes to McDonald's after Jim. Oh, do you really? Oh, they're all moaning, aren't they? Oh, they're charging us 10p for the dips. Good. Do you know how many unused dip things I have to pick up when I'm doing my litter picking? Dirty. Good. Perhaps that'll stop some of those being dumped out the windows of cars. Huh? It's ridiculous. The trouble is, when something's free, people go to town on it, don't they? Eh? There's the bag. Do you want any dips? Yeah, I'll have 5 of those and 5. And I put them all in the bag. They leave off. Half of them go straight into the bin. What a terrible... You know what I'm like on waste? What a terrible waste. So, by charging 10p per dip, you won't be spending that now if you don't want them, will you? Exactly. Good. I'm glad they're charging 10p. And if you don't like it, don't go there then. Oh, McDonald's are charging 10p a dip. Oh, it's terrible. Well, don't buy it then. Don't buy it. Moan. I'm so glad I'm not a moaner. Pardon? No, I'm not. My glasses are clean now. Earlier on, I was having a FaceTime with my sister, and there was a dot on there. You know, like, I don't know what it was. And I had this, you shouldn't really do it. I had a dry piece of tissue paper, and I'm trying to get this dot off, and I could not get it off. And I said to my sister, I've got some spray upstairs. She said, oh, that is so brilliant. You don't realise how dirty your glasses are until you use Specsaver's Lens Brights. Now, I can highly recommend that. And you spray it on your glasses, give it a wipe. Look how clean they are now. Not a mark on there at all. Blooming marvellous, isn't it? Feeling the love. Oh, sorry, you're talking to each other there. Kevin's loving the shirt and jacket. Thank you very much, Kevin. Actually, this is the first time I've been able to wear this for some time. I couldn't get it on. It wouldn't go over my back. And I'm actually, it's not, I mean, I can't do it up. Don't get me wrong, you know, I'm still fat. But I can now get this jacket on. There's another one I haven't worn for ages. You know, it's like a goldish, shiny thing. And now I think that is the same size as this. But when I was even fatter than I am now, I did force myself on and it ripped the bit of back. So that needs sewing up. Sis, are you there at all? Wonder if you could do that little jump. You know, the back of it's kind of ripped on the side there. So there we are. Gary Ross says it's a beautiful country, Scotland. Oh, it really is, Gary. I was on this beach at Lossiemouth, and I don't know why, but you know, you go on beaches and you often get rubbish. Not that people have left, although there's plenty of that usually as well, from the tramps, the disgusting pieces of trash that drop their rubbish or just have a fast food meal and then just walk off. You know, usually get some of that on. Well, there's none of that on there. But not only that, there's no rubbish coming in from the sea. So I don't know if it's because of the currents around there, because we do see terrible little videos, really, of other countries, and all the rubbish seems to end up on their seashore. There was none of it on this beach in Scotland. It was stunning, this beach. I could have cried for the beauty. Of course, I've mentioned this to a couple of people. Oh, you're going to move there? Well, I would imagine you'd be very lonely, you know. Unless you got like a family or someone to go and live there with you. I don't know. I mean, the people are friendly enough. You know, I had a Scottish haircut while I was out there. First time I've been in hairdressers for ages. And, you know, very, very chatty. The ladies in the shops are chatty and all that. And, I talk to people while I'm walking around, and I often do that, and people in the church that are in Elgin and what have you. But I would imagine you'd be very lonely. You'd have that beautiful view. Just stunning, Gary. I'm sure it's similar in Northern Ireland along the coast there, is it? Have you got some lovely beaches there? Hello to Ray Belasco. Evening, Ray. Hello to Weird City. Evening to you, sir. Ray Belasco, don't they have jobs? These people climbing on the... I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't, Ray. I'm sure they don't, my friend. Okay. There's John Parrish. Hello to you. Ray says you always look so young and fit. 60 next year, Ray. 60 next year, 5th of February. I'll be 60, yeah. And we're going to go to, for my birthday, we're going back to the ABBA show, which I was going to do on my birthday day because it is on, but my niece can't make that day, and she might even bring the children down. I'd love the children to come as well because I think they'd have a good night. You know, that would be a first for them. I like to give little people new experiences. As you know, I took my nephew to America a couple of times, and so the new experience would be basically for them to come to a nightclub, because the ABBA show, if you're on the dance floor, it's more like a nightclub experience with a show, and you're dancing, and it's just fabulous. And I just know those children will love it. So I'm kind of hoping she brings them down as well, but I'm not sure if that'll happen or not. But she can't do the 5th, so I'm going to work my date around her. Ray, did you see Queens for the Night? Oh, what's that? I don't know what that is, Ray. Is that an ABBA thing? I don't know what that is. Ray says I could see you in a tutu. Shall I get one? Fat Fighters. Thank you, Gary Ross. That was it. Fat Fighters on Little Britain. Hilarious. But like I say, with a lot of this comedy stuff, the joke is not the people that the person is taking the mick out of. It's the person. The joke is on them. So our fat people, like me, get upset because of something like Little Britain, because they never show that again, I suppose. You remember Ting Tong? And my favourite character on Little Britain has got to be Bubbles de Vere. Call me Bubbles, darling. Call me Bubbles. When he was little, I think he was about 6 or 7 at the time. Jimmy Butler. He's got his own little girl now, and own little boy now called I've forgotten his name. Called Frank, named after Frank Sinatra. And years ago we were watching Little Britain, and I got him to record that. Call me Bubbles, darling. Call me Bubbles. Now let me see if I can find it. I'll type in Bubbles. It might take a while to find that because I've no. How do you spell Bubbles? Bubbles. Let's try that. I'll search in my music. Oh, there it is straight away. How quick was that? Yeah, listen, hang on. Let me play my nephew. So remember, Bubbles de Vere. Call me Bubbles, darling. Call me Bubbles. This is Jimmy saying this when he was about 6, 7 or 8 years old. Here we go. Something like that.
Call me Bubbles, darling. Call me
I can't wait to bring that out at his wedding. Here it is again.
Call me Bubbles, darling, call me Bubbles.
Oh, dear, she was my favourite character. Bubbles de Vere, do you remember her? Thank you. What else have we got here? Anything of interest there? Let's scroll down there. Thank you. Gary remembers Ting Tong. Hello. You're not Ting Tong. Yeah, me Ting Tong. But it's like, I don't know what the offensive, because when you speak to some people from another country, that's how they speak. What's the problem? What's the problem? That is how some people... Not everyone. Not everyone. You know, my very, very good friend David, I went to his daughter's bar mitzvah a couple of weeks ago, right? And his wife is from Thailand, right? She still speaks like that. You know, it's an accent. I honestly don't see what the problem is, but there you go. Right, where are we there? Let's have a little there. John thought I'd retired. No, I don't ever think I'll retire, actually, John. I hope I don't have to retire. The trouble is the game I'm in tends to retire you. Eventually, people get fed up with what you do. It's just the way it is, you know, one of those things. There's Noah in Alderney Edge. Hello, Noah. And Noah says, do you think when a man marries a woman, Facebook, instead of changing his status on Facebook, instead of changing his status from single to in a relationship, it should be under new management? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I realise when someone young upsets their young girlfriend, right, what tends to happen is that the boy then forgets everything else that goes on and spends his entire time and money and great effort trying to win the girl back round the game. So, yeah, I absolutely think so. Noah says, did you see the bloke that bought his wife in the Daily Star for his first wedding anniversary? Because the traditional gift for the first anniversary is paper. He is now an independent... Did you see the bloke that bought his wife a ... Daily Star ... for his... That doesn't make sense, Noah. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Okay, don't know what you're trying to say there. Shania says, just had a look at Roehampton's Facebook page. Spotted the live stream with you on it. Oh, I didn't know that was on there. Can you hear the organ? It's a lovely organ they got there, isn't it, eh? Beautiful organ. Now, I've decided I'm not going to do such a long show, incidentally, gang, on a Wednesday night. It's taking a lot of my time up doing this, and we're going to knock it down to an hour as of now, okay, my darlings? All right. Dan C's there. Hello to Dan C, just down the road in Maidenhead. Greetings to you. Greetings to you. There's my sister. Loved hearing Jimmy's little bubbles. Oh, I've closed it now. Yeah, don't worry. That's always on. I'll send it to you later, sis. All right, so you've always got that to keep on your computer and bring it out to him to embarrass the hell out of him, you know, at some time. All right. What about this piece of trash on the telly on some of the TikToks tonight? Some idiot threw eggs at King Charles III. Wow, you're hard, aren't you, mate? Yeah, that's really hard. What a dickhead. What an idiot. And immediately, in support of the king, the entire crowd shouted, long live the king, long live the king. And of course, the police were straight on this bloke. And just so that you know what he looks like, and you probably know what he looks like, even before I show you the picture. Here we go. There you go. There you go. That's the sort of trash that we've got in this bloody country now. Right? Threw eggs at King Charles, and even worse than that in my mind, Camilla. You don't throw things at women. Right? The protester who was arrested by the police today for throwing eggs at King Charles and the Queen Consort in York is an Extinction Rebellion activist who once stood as a Green Party candidate. That's the sort of people we got in this country now. Look at him. Look at the state of that, eh? What? And obviously at this point the police have got him, and he seems so happy with himself. Well, yeah, good news Good luck to you, mate. Yeah, I bet your parents are proud of you, aren't you? You disgusting piece of filth. His name is Patrick Thelwell. This is in the Daily Mail, incidentally, gang. Okay, remember that name? Look him up. Feel free to put a message on his Facebook or whatever he's on, if he can work it, if he's got the intelligence to work something like that. The Patrick Thelwell was bundled to the ground, excellent news, by 4 police officers while screaming, "This country was built on the blood of slaves." Meanwhile, onlookers shouted, "God save the king and shame on you." Well, it may well have been. Was it? Was it not? Irrelevant, because we haven't got slaves. None of us have ever had slaves, and I'm sure none of you would ever want to have slaves. This is years ago. It's nothing to do with us. Just because we're the bloodline, perhaps. That's about the only sort of connection you got there. So when these people come out and say, we should be sending them money for what we did back in the 1700s, I don't think so. I don't think so, because that was then and this is now. And actually, if you walk around the country, it's fairly friendly. Except you, bleeding idiot. Patrick Thelwell, bundled to the ground. String him up and throw him to the crowd. Let's see how he gets on, shall we? I don't think he'll come out alive. Footage shows 4 eggs flying past His Majesty, and I've seen the video. And His Majesty dealt with it fantastically. I watched the video. The eggs broke on the ground beside him as he was greeted by city leaders. And literally, right, King Charles is going along, shaking hands, and then this egg goes flying, and it lands quite close to him. He looks down at this egg, steps over it, and carries on shaking hands. Didn't bother him in the slightest. Nice one, Charles. Very impressed. Very impressed. But there's just scum everywhere, isn't there? And we got some other news today, sort of royal news. I do like royal news. Let me see if you've got any messages on that one there. Thank you, Shania. You can hear the organ. You are cutting it down to an hour so you can watch I'm a Celebrity. No, I don't think so, darling. No. It's not for me. I'm a celebrity or anything like that. Kevin says, absolute moron, needs locking up. Absolutely. Chuck him in prison. Chuck him in prison. And he's although he's a bit of an idiot, let's have another look at him. There he is. Now he's with a decent haircut. He could be a young, pretty boy. And they're the sort of people, when they do wrong things like that, they're the sort of people you want to throw in prison with these big, butch, rough lads who haven't seen a woman in years. Do you know what I mean? Because he won't want to go back in there. I'm telling you that. I would. Oh, stop it. You're making me very naughty again tonight. He does need locking up, doesn't he? He does need locking up. Let's have a look. It happened a few years in London as well. Did it, Ray? Oh, I don't recall that. Jason says, good the police are about for a few eggs being thrown, never about when there's a burglary or a robbery. Yeah, that's true enough, isn't it? They scrabbled, says John there. Did the crowd get excited? John, exactly. Yeah, you are naughty, all of you. You're very, very naughty. And not only that, some other royal news. We've got the first statue of Queen Elizabeth II, which new sculpture of Queen Elizabeth II, this is in the Metro, now stands on the entrance to York's Cathedral, looking out over a square to be named in her honour. King Charles unveiled the new artwork commemorating his beloved mother today. So have a look at this, boys and girls. See what you think of this, okay? That's the new statue. Now, of course, all of us here, know exactly what Her Majesty looked like. And I don't know about that statue. She was never wide, was she? And the facial features kind of look like her, but to me it's not an exact. But then again, are statues like that? I don't know. What do you think of that statue, boys and girls? The statue was commissioned to celebrate the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee and was completed in August, 1 month before her death. Standing at 2 metres tall, the sculpture weighs 1.1 tonnes and is made from Lipine limestone from France. So there we are. What do you reckon on that statue? Is that doing her justice? I don't know. I mean, perhaps statues in general, it kind of looks like her, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? It kind of looks like her, but it doesn't. So what do you think of that? Let's just pop onto the... that's all working now. My little chat things on the Facebook seem to be working now. Derek says, are you on for an hour? Yes, an hour. Richard, hello, Rachel. Evening, Rachel. Evening, Mr. Reardon. Looking dapper tonight, and I agree, it's pants. Yep, she doesn't like the statue. Adrian says it looks like the princess from Shrek. I'm about to say, please say what you think of that. I see that the messages are coming up here now as well, which is interesting. Okay. Kevin says, sorry, Kevin, have you put another? It just says no disrespect from you. You mean you don't like the statue? Mick says it looks like she's been working out. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Jason doesn't think it's a very good statue either. No, I'm going to go along with that. Kevin, no disrespect, but it looks like a man and the statue is too large. Yeah, I think it's too big. She looks too big in that. She was never a big lady, does it? And it does make her look like she's got muscles. But, you know, no, and none of you, I know, respect. John Paris says, I believe the Queen does check it before it's put up. So, I don't know. I mean, it was... Well, she was ill at that point. I doubt that she left where she was staying. She was up in Scotland, wasn't she? I doubt whether she left where she was staying to go and check the statue. Maybe she didn't see it. Gary Ross looks like she's on steroids. It does, doesn't it, really? It really does. Vera says the Queen looks very angry in that photo. Stern. I wouldn't say angry. I think stern there, Shania. Shania said she did have the same opinion on the statue. It doesn't look like her really, but it's lovely that statues are starting to be made to pay respect to her. Absolutely, and I'm sure we'll see a few more going up all over the place, won't we? Good. All right. Rachel, it's the spitting image version. Oh yes, of course. Do you see that, Rachel? Oh, have you got subscription television at your house? You're richer than me, my love. God's sake, woman. There's no. The only thing I've got here is Netflix. That's it. I won't pay. The Amazon Prime's going this year. I'm not paying £95. From what is it, 75 to 95? Don't think so. Take it away. Thank you. Don't want that. I don't watch anything on Amazon Prime either. Never. And I find that the interface is a bit clunky as well in comparison to the Netflix. And actually, the iPlayer one is a bit clunky as well. I can never understand with the iPlayer. I like to watch the news a lot, right? And, you know, you can go on there and restart this program, right? So often I'll come in at about, I don't know, 12:15. From a swim gym or swim whatever. Well, that'd be just the swimming if I'm coming at 12:15. And I go on there and I go on the iPlayer and I go to the news channel, restart this program, but it restarts it at like 10:30 instead of 12 o'clock. So I don't know how that works. That's a bit clunky as well there. Adrian says she could have spoken to Prince Andrew and she wasn't very happy. I'm sure that is the case. Alrighty, boys and girls, that's it for the show this evening. Thanks very much for joining. It's nice to be back again, my darlings. Okay, we're going to be doing sort of an hour instead of 2 hours on a Wednesday because it is a long time. And plus, I've got jacket potatoes in the oven, which will now be done. Thank you very much. If you want to join me on the radio this morning, that's still on every morning. It was really nice to be able to do my radio show from Scotland. I did enjoy doing that. So if you're around tomorrow morning, do join us. reachonair.com. That's just after the 9 o'clock news. Again, it's only an hour, okay? Usually dancey type music. We have one from the 80s, one from the 90s, one from the 2000s, and one from the 2010s. Okay, that's tomorrow morning, just after the 9 o'clock news at Reach On Air. And there'll be another chat show for you next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. All right? Thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you again tomorrow morning, just after 9. Bye-bye.